Recently, I got a glimpse of the back of my head and I was like, girl, your hair looks great. That is because I've been using Ouai for quite a while. I love their shampoo and conditioner because they are really made to deliver exactly what is right for my hair type and yours. With Ouai, you'll get hydration that won't weigh you down, plus extra benefits that your specific strands need. Think volume and bounce, shine, and protection against frizz. Wash your way to healthy hair and get a hair routine that's made just for you by Ouai. Go to TheOuai, TheOuai.com and use promo code JUICY for 15% off any product. That's TheOuai, TheOuai.com, code JUICY. This Juicy Scoop episode is brought to you by iRestore. The FDA cleared iRestore Elite harnesses the power of low-level light therapy, LLLT, a clinically proven method to regrow thicker and fuller hair. It's the most non-invasive, pain-free, and drug-free way to bring your hair back to life. Are you ready to get medical-grade red light treatment at home to regrow your hair? For a limited time only, our Juicy Scoop listeners get $625 off their order when you use code JUICYSCOOP at iRestoreLaser.com. That's your order at iRestoreLaser.com with promo code JUICYSCOOP. Hair loss is frustrating. You don't have to fight it alone thanks to iRestore.
Heather McDonald has got the juicy scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data, and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Whoop, whoop. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. What a treat. The natives, the Juicy Scoopers, have been begging for the return of your favorite Pratt daddy, crystal loving, father of the year, husband of the century, Spencer Pratt. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
And son, your mother loves you.
Oh, yeah. Before we get started, I just want to thank Beyonce just to make sure she knows for everything she's done.
She was the first podcaster, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Beyonce, for everything. Just want to lock that one in.
I want to give props to my girl, JoJo Siwa.
What a legend.
Who made, like, she was up there with Ricky Gervais calling shit out. She, when I saw this, I go, you know what? I like this girl.
I've been loving her. So I'm glad I've been reposting all her dances and songs. And I saw that and I was like, that's why.
It was amazing. So she was giving an award for some like dance awards thing. And she got right up there and went right with the thing that's been going on TikTok, the conspiracy theory that everyone, all these, you know, and there's lots of videos of people weirdly thanking her before they thank God, before they thank their manager, before they thank their mom, dad, or their first music teacher. They make sure, and they're like shaking when they do it, whether it's Adele or whatever, that we owe it all to Beyonce. I wouldn't be here with Beyonce, da-da-da. So she goes, I just want to make sure that everyone, you know, that I want to thank Beyonce so that the dance community is safe. And like half the audience got it, and the other half were like scared for her and then groaning. And props to her. She knows what it's about.
Yeah, that's why I love TikTok conspiracies. And I keep checking the news because January's coming and we may lose all this with TikTok getting banned. And I'm like, what am I going to do every day?
What is every day they say it's being banned?
Well, what's January was like the cutoff is what, you know.
The cutoff for what? It is going to be gone?
Supposedly, unless they can, this court cases, they can.
But then can someone just make something else?
Easier said than done. Like,
yeah.
They try to respectfully look at.
I mean, there are some negative. There's definitely some negative things about it that it's feeding. There's definitely a generation. There's definitely people that get into things that are not true. I get that. But as far as a place for artists and comedians and content creators and journalists that want to get their story out, it's been extremely valuable and I love it. But I get what the concern is as far as like another country, when you see like all the screens and like
bot people.
Yeah, how they're trying to feed a propaganda or whatever. I get that. But I mean, I still am all for free speech, so I still want it to stay.
Yeah, and if we're gonna be, what's to stop them doing that on a new app? And
Right.
like they do that in the U.S. with
Right.
like, oh, they can't get a warehouse full of bot people here doing it. That has to be from
Right.
China.
Yeah, you're right.
So
you're right.
it's like if we're gonna just be whatever. So yes, the conspiracy on TikTok, I love that because it's so real looking.
Before we get into all the latest on the Juicy Scoop and finally get Spencer Pratt's point of view, which the people have been begging for. First of all, I'm going live. Okay. I got some shows this weekend, Minneapolis and Chicago this Friday and Saturday with Chris Frangiola. Then I'm going back to the Irvine Improv, 2 shows Friday, November 8th and 9th. Those are stand up, and then a live Juicy Scoop Sunday, November 10th. And then come back in the new year, New York, Washington, Red Bank.
Do you know that you have the Reputation ring on?
No, I didn't know.
That's like the
That's
Taylor
not-
Swift Reputation snake ring.
Well, I will say that that was a photo shoot by Tori Jensen, and he styled me, and he just put that ring on me. So I don't know.
That's a really good ring.
Okay, so we went to the Us Weekly party. We did not see each other. I got there. I was telling you right before we started, listen, when you're not that famous, which I'm not that famous, and I get invited to something like this or a premiere or whatever of a movie that I'm not starring in, it's a good idea if you don't come too late. So I don't have to wait in line and that people are still excited to see me. So I got there before you and therefore didn't see you because then I was upstairs and I never saw you when you got upstairs.
We only got there at 9:30 or 10 or whatever
Okay.
because we have to do story time,
Right.
bath time. We said when Dan Wakeford had messaged asking us to go, an editor, he was a day one Spidey teammate. So we're like, okay, we got to go support Dan because he's at Us Weekly now. And I was like, we're not going to be able to get there till 10 or whatever. So we told him that. So it wasn't like we were trying to be like fashionably late, but it worked out.
Look at your hot wife here.
Demi from The Bachelor
Yes.
came up to us, was talking to us, and she texted or messaged me the next day and she said, your wife is hot on the internet, but she's like, in person, she is so much hotter. And I always say that just these photos and it don't even do Heidi
I feel
justice
like
of how hot she is in person.
You were posting some photos. You're like, I like taking photos of my family on film. And I really do feel like this is the prettiest Heidi has ever been. Like, I feel like she just looks great. I just feel like she looks just fantastic. I'm not just saying this because you're here, but she's always been pretty. But sometimes it takes women just a moment to like grow into your own and everything's just lined up. And, she's got her 2 kids. She still has you. God, you guys have been together a long time.
I think the math is like 18 years now.
Wow.
Because the Hills reunion 20 years is coming up. And I didn't meet her the first season. I met her the second season.
It's too bad somebody didn't bet on you in Vegas to see how long you guys would stay together.
Yeah, like the Barstool guy, if he'd been, he would have made a lot of money. He's Mr. Better. But yeah, it was a great party.
Yes. I had fun.
No, I mean,
I had fun. I got to see lots of people besides you. I saw Abby Lee Miller. And what's crazy is my niece, she's 17. And out of all the photos I posted from the night, she is like freaking out that I met. And the reason I saw Abby Lee Miller is because she called me over. She was like, I'm a huge fan of mine. So she is going to come on Juicy Scoop because I really didn't follow the show that much. But now people like my niece, they're all watching it. The
original or the new one? Doesn't she have a new show?
I don't know. They're watching all of it. They're watching the old ones and new ones. There's clips on TikTok. So she's like, isn't it amazing? I'm like, you're like more famous than ever. And she loves JoJo. She's like, JoJo pays her dancers so well. She's so generous. She's so charitable. She's so professional. So they have a great relationship.
Heidi always watched it. And when I bring up JoJo, she said JoJo's mom on the show used to be like, my daughter's a star. Like she knew JoJo was going to, make it out of all this. And I love that.
Yes. So. Okay. And then Long Island Medium. Can't wait. We're going to do something together.
This was you were just poaching.
Oh my God. It was amazing. I got to see Jax.
And Brittany was there too.
Brittany waited to come up, what I've heard. Or she got the word once he was gone, then she came. That was the inside scoop I got. Not from her, from someone else.
No, it's just
Because
so...
and then, so he did his thing. He said hi, then he left, then she came, and I talked to her as well. And she is just always just so, they're both so nice to me. Now, I'm not a cast member. I never slept with either one of them. So they like me, and I am rooting for them and their co-parenting situation.
I can't wait to watch it on the Valley.
And so there was a big story about how he, there was some papers filed that people caught that where he did give her full custody, or it said physical custody, but he would still something. He's like, no, that's not totally right. And I had said, that's not a bad thing that one parent allows the other to be in charge of the child, make the decisions for school and things, providing, you have a good relationship and you can still work out a schedule plan to see them, just because it's not 50-50, just because the kid isn't going week on, week off, which I don't really think is that great for a kid. I think that's really, really hard to do, and now in California for the last 30, 40 years, they want to give both parents, especially the dads, the 50-50, but in some cases, it's just really hard and it's not always the best. So I was like, why can't people interpret it as that? But I don't know. We'll see. We're going to see it on the Valley. We're going to see a lot on the Valley, I hear.
So he's sober now.
He was great. He was sober. He was great. He was nice. He said very nice things about Brittany. He's like, I just wasn't a good husband to her and she deserves more. But I got a place really close to their house. So now she has the house. He's in a townhome, and I see Cruz all the time. And
great.
So pray to God that, but I think what we're going to see on the show is what led up to where they are now, which probably wasn't that pleasant.
Yeah, because I can't wait to see if they followed who he said wasn't his girlfriend, because there was those photos of him with that.
Yeah, with that girl being like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah,
hey, remember that?
Those weird
they
clips.
were at Jack's and then celebrating someone's birthday. I think they were celebrating Ariana's brother's birthday before he got arrested
for trafficking,
for taking 75 pounds of weed from Orlando to Germany, as one does. And, but I think they were celebrating that. And this girl just happened to be next to him. And then she jokingly said, I'm pregnant. And then they blew out the candles or whatever. It was just a thirst move. But he was alone. He definitely did not have a date.
Before I forget.
Yes.
Because you made me think of the connection. So skip to this. I joked about Chappelle Roan on TikTok about the fan stuff.
Tell me what you were saying.
Oh, so for your listeners that aren't aware, Chappelle Roan asked her fans not to come near her, not to approach her, da-da-da-da.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did some TikTok about I don't even remember, you can all come up to me, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And one of the things that once I had to defend myself after and say, maybe I didn't know all the information, was because fans were touching her.
Yes.
Which I was like, whoa, okay, if that's true, I'm not saying it's not, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So Heidi had her first live performance at this rave on Saturday night, and some creepy person started started rubbing her hair, and it was this big incident. And then it really made her so uncomfortable. I was like, this is universal karma that I put on my wife for trolling this situation. There are people out there just rubbing women's hair as they're walking by on some scary movie shit.
I mean, the touching thing has happened to me too. And, so far I've been lucky. I don't really mind it.
You're you can rub my hair.
I like a quick back rub.
Bring
it's
it
fun.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. I even during COVID, I was like, I don't care. You can hug me. But
a creepy dude.
A creepy dude. And everybody has a right not to have someone touch them, throw things at them on stage,
so funny.
Grope them, whatever. Heidi's music is doing incredible.
That's why, yeah. But
yeah, but that was scary. So were you there to witness this?
No, I was watching the kids. I would have probably cracked a little,
which would then that would have been bad.
Elbow or bump.
Yeah,
but thankfully her stylist looks like he's in an action movie. This guy is Tomas. Okay. He was the last person you want to fight, and But
So was she about to go on stage? How did they
she
get
just
to her
come
hair?
off or whatever.
Oh,
It was like
and they're
leaving
coming off stage.
and
Okay. And so
it was
she
like-
is performing live at events.
Yeah, live performance.
And because
I
her
don't know how
songs are
live-
doing really well on Spotify. They're like such great beats and bops.
Thank God.
So catchy.
Thank
In
God.
fact, when I saw your one video and it was like 60 million downloads, I was like, wait, that's Heidi's song? I actually didn't know because I had been hearing it and I didn't put like two and two together.
So that's a breaking news story. You're hearing it all over TikTok because some guy, I'm not even say his name to give him more streams, stole the beat of her song, took the lyrics off, and has 40 million streams for the beat that he calls his record. And there's like Puma commercials with it. Like the NFL used it for their Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce
So
montage.
do you have lawyers on this
I
or
do.
what?
And right now we're fighting it because they say he remade it. And I'm like, he remade Heidi's song. The sample's in there. But like the amount you have to spend on these lawyers.
Right.
I'm like, so yes, you've been hearing that, her song, but without the lyrics because his version is almost more famous because you can use an instrumental more in more settings than you can like a song.
Wow.
Oh.
Well,
So there you go. Breaking news drama.
yes. Also saw Lindsay from Summer House pregnant with a girl. She was the one that was engaged to Carl and they had the big breakup. And then shortly after she started dating an old flame and is now having a baby.
So we were having a moment. We went back downstairs when everyone was up there to do our own like fun little content with nobody on the red carpet.
Yeah.
And like Heidi's doing like, TikTok or whatever and filming. And this, he looked like a movie star type dude comes over and stands behind, like when somebody's just like a drunk, annoying person, like
Yeah.
stands behind her, like leaning, there's just Heidi and I, nobody around.
Yeah.
And he comes and he's like standing in the video. We're like, what is this guy doing? But he's way bigger than me. I don't want to like say anything, like try to wrestle this dude.
He's
so
physically bigger than you.
yeah,
Okay.
he's a thick looking.
Okay.
And then his other guy comes out and he's like, oh my gosh, trying to stop his buddy from like harassing us. He's like, this is Spidey. You don't know. He's like, and I'm not even trying to do my Australian accent or whatever.
Yeah.
And they end up tagging me later
Yes.
in a photo and he's the captain of Below Deck,
Oh, yes.
the Australian captain.
Is that her boyfriend?
Is that whose boyfriend?
Wait, he's like blue eyes, right? The
I didn't
captain is
look in.
hot.
I didn't
Well,
look that
no.
close. They
Okay,
were
because when
green.
I came up to her, he was right next to her.
Came
The
up to who?
captain of Lindsay.
No, this was to Heidi and I.
I know, but Lindsay
Oh.
was next to that captain
Oh, maybe
too.
he was rolling on any blonde, because it was like
Pregnant
uncomfortable.
or not?
Yeah.
No, because I don't think that's her boyfriend. She has a
Yeah,
different
like,
boyfriend.
he's definitely looks like a movie star.
Yes, he looks
Yeah.
like a movie star.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So that's
It looks like a movie star. That's such an old lady thing to say. That.
I mean, he doesn't look like a captain of a boat.
No,
Like, I
he
thought the
doesn't.
guy
No,
looked like
he
he was in a
doesn't.
James Bond movie
Yeah, he
or
does
something.
look like he should be in a James Bond movie. And he had like a nice suit on.
like,
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking, turn the boat
So
around.
it was all nice. Recently, I got a glimpse of the back of my head and I was like, girl, your hair looks great. And so is everybody else saying that. That is because I've been using Way for quite a while. I love their shampoo and conditioner because they are really made to deliver exactly what is right for my hair type and yours. With Way, you'll get hydration that won't weigh you down, plus extra benefits that your specific strands need. Think volume and bounce, shine, and protection against frizz. I absolutely love it. My hair oftentimes gets very dry. I use a lot of products. And what I really love is their detox shampoo. And then I follow it up with Way's conditioning hair mask. Oh my gosh, this is great for fine to medium and thick hair types, but it instantly restores hydration, fights frizz, and strengthens strands, which is what my locks really require. Fine hair shampoo and conditioner is also great. It gives your locks a luxurious lift. Also, do you have curls? I bet they're craving moisture. Well, hydrate thick strands with Way's thick hair shampoo and conditioner. Wash your way to healthy hair and get a hair routine that's made just for you by Way. Go to TheWay, TheOuai.com and use promo code JUICY for 15% off any product. That's TheWay, TheOuai.com, code JUICY. This Juicy Scoop episode is brought to you by iRestore, the clinically proven advanced hair growth system designed for women who want to say goodbye to thinning hair and hello to volume. Ladies, we all know the struggle. Your hairbrush is starting to look like a stuffed animal and your shower walls have enough hair on them to build a wig. If you're tired of dealing with thinning hair or hair loss, listen up. The iRestore Elite is the most powerful device on the market, packed with 500 lasers and LEDs. The combination ensures that every inch of your scalp receives the light energy needed to stimulate cellular activity, boost blood flow, and reduce inflammation, all crucial elements in reversing hair loss. The FDA cleared iRestore Elite harnesses the power of low-level light therapy, LLLT, a clinically proven method to regrow thicker and fuller hair. It's the most non-invasive, pain-free, and drug-free way to bring your hair back to life. I have tried it and I love it. It feels great. It's easy to use, and I already feel that my hair is feeling thicker and fuller than before. Are you ready to get medical-grade red light treatment at home to regrow your hair? For a limited time only, our Juicy Scoop listeners get $625 off their order when you use code JuicyScoop at iRestoreLaser.com. That's your order at iRestoreLaser.com with promo code JuicyScoop. Hair loss is frustrating. You don't have to fight it alone thanks to iRestore. Okay, weird new lawsuit. So Kanye West is being sued by his former assistant. She's accusing Kanye West of drugging her, sexually assaulting her at a Sean Diddy Combs party. Now, this is where it's a little bit strange and confusing in this lawsuit. She met him at the party, was drugged with her friend and assaulted. But then she started working for him as an assistant. And I was trying to figure out, is it like she didn't remember it and now it's coming back? Or I don't know. But in the lawsuit, as his assistant, she had some weird things to say. So she said, the lawsuit says she's got text messages that she can prove in where Kanye wrote to the assistant, I want to have sex with, he goes, I'm going to send this to Bianca or whatever. He sends this to the assistant that I want to have sex with her mom and I want Bianca to watch. And he's like, should I send this? And then the assistant says, I don't know. And then it was just it's so bizarre of a thing. Wait, it's insane. But the mom is very attractive. That is the mom, the blonde woman. I'm not saying that's why. I mean, obviously, I think he was joking. And
I don't think he's joking.
You don't think he's joking?
I mean,
maybe he's not joking.
But
why is he sharing with his assistant? That's really why? He was. Well, that's why she's probably suing the assistant, because she was like, why was I sucked into this weird shit? So he's sending text messages to the assistant that he's having with Bianca. And that's why she has him in her possession. And in these text messages were really inappropriate, gross things. Besides the fact that she's also saying at one point she was drugged and assaulted by him.
At a Diddy party. That really adds to the case.
Yeah. And
yeah, I definitely believe the text. I don't know. It's a little suspicious. We're going to add a Diddy party in. Yeah, wait, this is some of the stuff that's very strange. So West sought out her and her former musician client, inviting them to a party at a music studio that West and Combs co-hosted. That's in the court papers. After taking just a few sips, she suddenly started to feel disoriented and began to slip into an altered and highly impaired state, from court papers. It wasn't until before West fired her. Oh, this is how she found out. That he confessed that they had hooked up the night that she was drugged. That's what happened. So she was drugged, has no recollection of it, then worked for him, did all this. And then when he was like, you're fired, because she was being like, what is this weird shit I'm getting involved in? Then he was like, oh, by the way, we hooked up that night you were drugged. So that is where this whole thing gets. And that's her lawsuit. The Bianca thing is really weird. I thought they were breaking up. Now they're not. Now the mom's involved. And they caught her doing errands, the mom, in Australia, and the paparazzi. And she just was
no comment or whatever about my son-in-law.
So just this week, we were with somebody who is, I guess, best friends with her.
You were.
We were with somebody who's like best friends with Bianca this
okay,
week.
Do tell.
And they were saying she's so nice and normal. So it's this weirdest stuff when there's this disconnect when you see all this crazy stuff and then you hear somebody's so nice and normal. And
and then when in the papers when Bianca wrote back, I guess, according to court papers, about sleeping with her mom, she's like, well, then I'll go F somebody and you can watch or something.
So she keeps it real.
And now here's the thing. Like, it's just so weird. It's a weird text exchange between a couple, whatever their weirdness is, whether that is like, the weird shit when
I think
couples
it's called
fight.
A kink.
Yes.
Kink, right?
A kink or a fight or whatever. But the fact that she has it, now he could come back, I'm just thinking as Kanye's defense attorney, and be like, this is the way that they fuck with each other. They are joking. They're fucking with each other. They're like, fuck you. Like, you know what? Like when someone's like, all right, that's it. I'm taking your credit card and you spent too much money. And then the wife's like, I'm going to fucking disable your car, dickwad. Who knows? Okay. So let's say that's their weird way, just being defense. And then he can say, because she was my assistant, she had access to everything like on an iCloud iPad and could see my text messages. And she screen grabbed those weird things to plan this whole lawsuit later.
Oh, no, she's not winning this. Her only chance is trying to get out of that case to the Diddy stuff and join the 5,000 people suing Diddy right now.
And there's some new Diddy ones. The latest one, we could finish the Kanye stuff. Of course, Julia Fox is trying to talk again. She's not saying anything new that wasn't already in her book. He offered her a boob job. He dressed her. They never had sex. He used her to make Kim jealous, and she wishes she didn't date him. Okay, but did anyone know who you were before? I was going to say, that book
wasn't coming out, so...
Yeah, it's just new interviews saying, I really regret ever being used by him. But everything that she's saying now in interviews, she's already said in the book. Well, I read the end of the part of the book, which is about him, where she only calls him the artist. But she tells that story that we've already heard. Okay, so fine.
It's similar to what I just saw yesterday that maybe I'm saying the artist's name wrong. Azalea Banks was twittering about Kesha and saying if Kesha was so traumatized by Dr. Luke, why does she keep performing only TikTok and We Are Who We Are? These songs that Dr. Luke made for Kesha. If this whole thing that she says is the worst thing, like, why don't you not play those songs?
The argument could be like, well, it was my biggest hit and he's not going to take that too. I'm not going to not perform my biggest hit. He's not going to win on that end. I'm not stupid. Yeah, it's the only way I can justify the trauma I was put through is that it made money.
Yeah, you should reply as Kesha.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. Now this is new today. New lawsuit. Diddy's now sued by this woman who, this was like 20 years ago. She was in college. Some handler of Diddy said, hey, we're having a party or a photo shoot. You're pretty. She went to like some college in Brooklyn. Come across the street to the Marriott. She and her friend, they get up to the Marriott room and the same story. They drink something that, they drink something that makes them impaired. They get locked in a room with Diddy. He forces the one friend to give him oral, then forces himself on this girl who's suing. The other friend escaped at one point. Then finally this girl is able to leave because of security, but he threatens her life. It's completely horrible when you read it. Then she gets away, and now, so this is another one. And you said that you just heard another one. Now guys are coming forward with their own lawsuits. Well, there's like 120 or 300
six
people,
new guys
right?
Today. It was breaking as we went on. I got the
This girl
alert.
Is part of using the same attorney that has the 120 clients. So I think that's the Texas guy.
Why, obviously everyone's different in situations, but if this happens to me that night, I'm calling 911, right when I get out, and it's...
Yeah, but that's just a guy's thing. Sometimes this is what happens with these things. she did tell somebody. There's got to be enough for the attorney to take it. So there's got to be like a mom remembers when she called, or her roommate, or she has some type of like receipts about it, a blog, a diary, whatever. But it's just so embarrassing and humiliating. The last thing people want to do is, and they're scared, is to go to the cops. I mean, the person that, has guns and security is the most famous person who says, I'm going to kill you if you say anything, and you escape and you're 19. You believe them. So that is why it takes this much time. And it takes this much time because now they can come forward because people are going to believe them because there's so many others. So not going that day. And also, even if she went that day, it may have nothing happened to it because now we know that he was involved with all these cops. But they are suing the Marriott too. And because they're saying that they knew what kind of stuff he was pulling. And then he also just said, Diddy's attorney just said that the new accusation is his legal team is saying that the Department of Homeland Security leaked the footage of Cassie, where he's beating her near the elevator, to undermine his right to a fair trial, which everyone's like, okay, maybe, but it's out there and he did it. So now he's like, that was so unfair that you showed me, beating a woman who I agreed to give $30 million to because I knew that this would, she probably has so much of her own evidence that he was like, here's the 30 million. And then someone was holding on to that tape.
He didn't pay that person.
Yeah. Are you excited about the 50 Cent?
I am. What I was going to say, this is how, I guess, twisted I am. When I knew I was coming on Juicy Scoop, I was like, man, I wish I'd been to one of Diddy's parties to have like some inside scoop. And I was like, no, I'm so glad I've never been to a Diddy party.
So were you ever invited?
No, I don't even get invited to birthday parties, let alone.
No, but back in the day when you guys were young.
No, not even close. I did just have a run-in with Diddy maybe a month and a half ago, like
before he was arrested?
Yeah.
Where?
At my, I'll say it, my neuromuscular therapist office. So I park in the like the little private lot, and there was this guy with security energy, but also like hitman energy. Like I was like, whoa, standing in the lot, like near like this like SUV or whatever. I was like, that's creepy. I go in and there's like another one in the hallway. I'm like, this is getting creepy.
Another security type guy.
Yeah, like not like obvious.
Like private.
Yeah, private, but also like more goon energy.
Yeah.
Like bury a body type security guard.
Yeah.
Like not ones that like are like above board. And so I go in and there's another one in the thing. I'm like, what is going on? And then comes out Diddy. And it was before any of this. So I was like, oh, hey, Diddy. Like, I don't know about all this going on.
Did he know who you were?
He, had the energy like, I'm sure he does with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, good to see you. Whatever. So that was the second time. We had a run-in years ago at the Beverly Hills Hotel where we saw him, same kind of thing by that little coffee shop. But no, I've never been to
and at that time, had you heard anything but
nothing.
Just that he's a total delight, best friends with Ellen, daddy of the year.
Of course.
Yeah.
But it was definitely weird energy the second time. I was like, whoa.
What do you think of the whole Kim Porter, mother of his 4 kids, dying of pneumonia? And,
and she had these like videos supposedly that she was trying to like get out, right? That like.
Oh, is that what you've heard? That she had the videos?
She had some incriminating stuff that she was going to use or whatever. The pneumonia thing is just such like a movie scene where you could just suffocate somebody and they stop breathing.
Or a tiny, tiny injection of something.
Like that movie I told you. Because Michael Clayton.
Oh, yeah. Wait, we'll tell that story. Oh,
well,
yeah.
Michael Clayton, they have those like rich people hitmen that use the like injection in between your toes. It makes it look like you just like have a heart attack. It's so real looking.
Well, that same autopsy doctor or whatever was the same one that did Brittany Murphy and her husband who died 6 months later.
From the mold or what was that?
Who bought the house that either Brittany was about to buy or she used to live in. Anyway, now that guy is dead too. And the autopsy guy is no longer here.
And then you go deep and it goes all back to Ashton Kutcher who like rolled up to that girl he was having the date and the red wine that was ended up being blood. And now we know Diddy and Ashton Kutcher were at these parties together.
And they're saying that Ashton and Mila now, according to friends, are going to maybe move to Europe. They just love it so much there. I could see that happening. They certainly don't need the money. Like, they don't need to be doing TV or anything anymore, ever.
This makeup artist we also just saw this weekend said she was talking to some top glam people, and she was saying all these people are moving out of the country that are like concerned they're connected to whatever is at these.
Wait, I mean, they're concerned because they are connected. They just want to get away.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Like, they're concerned because they have a little bit of stink, or they are really in the shit.
Like, I don't know, but if you're moving the country, it sounds like you're in some SHIT. We went to a celebrity's house, or not celebrity. We went to a rich person's house back in the day, and for years I always thought like I was too naive to think. We stayed at this house, and
where was the house?
In Mexico.
Okay.
And I always think, I'm like, there's no way there weren't hidden cameras in this house. You know, so it makes me now with the Diddy thing, I'm like, this person for sure had hidden cameras.
Well, it's like, you know, what's crazy now is that people do have the Ring cameras throughout their house now, inside their house, because they just install them because why not, you know, for whatever reasons. It's my family, it's my house, housekeepers, whatever. Which is why you see so many of those, you know, crazy videos on TikTok where all of a sudden, you know, a kid almost fell and the dog stopped it or whatever. And you're like, how did they have this video? Oh, it's because they had like a little camera there, you know? And so, yeah, I definitely think celebrities did. And then ones that had a reason to be filming everything for blackmail purposes. Yeah.
And then you really get into like the Epstein, if Diddy really was an Epstein, it's so obvious that why he was, you know, like he could be so much more successful in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
If he was just, you know, Epstein is doing it, I suppose, on this global, like Mossad, you know, Bill Gates level, international. But if you just bring it down to like Hollywood level, music industry, you're going to get you could get a lot of money and become a Diddy real quick. So that is the most interesting. Where are Diddy's tapes?
Well, yeah. And I mean, it seems very like mafioso with guns and, you know, putting a gun down before a meeting and having all your people. And then that it goes deeper to not only do you feel like, okay, we better give this deal to Diddy or give the deal the way he wants it. You know, when you see those videos of him screaming like, I get what I want, all I want, you know, like that type of thing. Then you realize that, yeah, like deals were just made in his favor because they were like, you just don't want to fuck with him. He will fuck you hard. Maybe it's not you on the tape, but it's your client on the tape. Or, you know, it's somebody who is about to do a huge motion picture deal. I mean, you know how like everybody's like connected. So you're just going to be like, give Diddy what he wants. Yeah.
I just hope we find out. Because that was so annoying with the Epstein thing. That just, I was
nobody
like,
else. We don't
kept waiting like, well, there's all these people on these fake flight manifests and then the real ones. Like, okay, where are all the drives? Where are the tapes? They said they have these safes full of the things. So it's that.
And then I guess with Epstein, they said they had the tapes, but there was nobody of significance on them. And I can see why a young girl that was a victim of it probably cannot recognize that the person that she, you know, was forced to be with was a governor.
Or Prince Andrew.
Because how does she know he just looks like another old white guy? She's 14, whatever. But with these ones, you'd be able to know the videos and everything. And what do you think about all the Justin stuff?
That's sad. You know, that's so sad.
Bieber, yeah.
That conspiracy, just like the clips, regardless if he was actually whatever, you know, just that weird energy that he's dealing with at such a young age and these little clips you watch and that like adult pressure on, because now I'm Diddy's age and I imagine like trying to like, hang out with a, you know, like, I don't care if he's the biggest star in the world. Like, I'm not trying to kick it with a 14 or 15-year-old. I mean, like, you're going to camp with me for 2 days and I'm going to show. any of that stuff is just so creepy. And it's so sad that his Canadian like stage parents were like, ship him off with Usher and whoever and go live with Diddy for 48 hours.
I mean, now there's some thoughts and conspiracy theories that somehow he was involved in Michael Jackson being, dying.
Well, I told you, my lawyer, my conspiracy, we talked about that.
Do tell. Remind everybody, there's been so much.
Our lawyer, Peter Lopez, was Michael Jackson's lawyer. And he was 100%, in my opinion, murdered.
Okay.
The lawyer who knew probably what was actually happening with Michael Jackson, what was going on.
How did he die? And why would you think he was
supposedly
murdered?
Allegedly, he himself. No way.
Ended his life.
No way.
Okay.
No way. It's the same thing of Dr. Ryan driving off the freaking highway.
Right.
And so now with the Diddy thing, now that we had already talked about that, with the surgeon, Dr. Ryan, supposedly, in the Cassie documents. Now I'm thinking, I don't know if Diddy allegedly was trying to kill Dr. Frank Ryan, or maybe they just tried to scare him by run him off the road and didn't expect him to die because.
And all this is alleged. All this is us talking about conspiracy. We have no facts. We don't know.
Guessing.
Because Jay-Z and Beyonce are handing out cease and desist like Christmas cards.
I love the lawyer.
I shouldn't say that. I saw another guy on TikTok that got one.
Oh, but I love the lawyer.
So it's not just Pierce. There's other people getting them.
A cease and desist. They said, if you don't we just said, I don't know, but their argument was it wasn't a cease and desist. They just called and said, we're gonna sue you.
Yeah.
But they didn't. That's pretty wild. You can't, but I hate that.
Well, we can talk about what we see, and I'm not saying I have facts. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying if you're wondering what the rumblings are behind the headlines, this is what they are. So that's that, but that's what I'm saying. So far, nobody else is of any stature has been arrested or anything. So who knows?
Diddy doesn't get off. It's kind of like that. So
and he's going to, the trial is set for May, and he's going to stay in prison till May unless he can work out something. He's trying to work out another thing to get out, obviously. They're trying to get him out.
He's going down. I wonder who he burned, because obviously he tried to, this only happens when you.
Well, 50 Cent's theory.
I don't. I can't wait to
hear. He was suing Ciroc for a minute.
Oh, those Russians you messed with, right?
He did. He was suing Ciroc for a minute. Ciroc is owned by another big corporation of all that own all the liquors, the Diageo.
Some mob family, right?
No, I don't know. That's
no, allegedly, but that.
And then that company is allegedly owned by BlackRock.
And some mafia family.
All these things might have always been lined up, and then it was finally just okay, go after him. And then but before that happened, he was settling his stuff with Cassie. Then he stopped his lawsuit against Ciroc, but it was too late. The orders had been given.
I love it.
That's theory.
That's a theory coming on Hulu or Netflix. Who's got the?
And I don't know if that'll be in it or if he's just saying that to get people to watch it, and then we see something and it's super tame and it's nothing.
How do we get the
new.
Juicy Scoop sponsored by BlackRock or that would this episode?
I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, my theory of the Kim Porter thing, if pneumonia was not what she actually passed from, okay, and what she might have been threatening to expose, I think what propelled that possibility, if that is a possibility, is that I don't think that she liked that her sons, who might have been, young adults or whatever, were getting involved in his freakadeeks. As a mom, I think that's when she was like,
I'm done.
No, fuck you. No, we're done. No, you've abused me. You've cheated on me. You've done this. You did that. No, and of course the sons are gonna be like, I want to go and be with dad and have a ton of, women on the yacht want to be with me. And then she's like, oh my God, now I have no control. Now you're going to get into something that could really get you in trouble, because if you're involved, That's what I think happened. But we may never know because that book or whatever that was on Amazon
that guy
has been taken off.
Oh,
and
that
Amazon
guy
book
said those were from her notes or her journal or whatever.
I mean, there's so many things. There's just no way to know. Yeah, there's like what is the proof?
Well,
I don't know.
Nowadays, thankfully, moving forward, is everyone has iPhones. Like this was still in the era you had to like write stuff in a journal and stuff. So
Right now,
nowadays,
if you took a note, if you put something in your notes, it would say it was done on 2020 at this time. Yeah, where she said, "I'm really upset that this happened" or whatever. Yeah, you're right.
I just after you see that footage of him like kicking Cassie, like when I see that, you now make it believable that you could have somebody suffocated to death. Like you don't know if you kick somebody in the head when they're on the ground or dragging them. Like that energy is murderer energy to me.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. This Juicy Scoop episode is brought to you by No CD. When people joke about being a little OCD, I wish they knew what it's really like to live with. OCD can shake you to your core with disturbing, violent, and taboo unwanted thoughts that make you question your character. These thoughts could be about anything, but they'll often just focus on the things that you care most about, like your relationships, values, and identity. Then OCD locks you into a cycle of doing certain physical or even mental actions to try to get rid of the fear and discomfort from those thoughts, even though it never worked in the long run. And worst of all, OCD can make you feel like a monster, even though that isn't true. But that's what makes OCD so debilitating. The thoughts can feel so real that seeking help can seem like a huge risk. It can feel like there's nothing you can do, but it doesn't have to stay that way because OCD is highly treatable with the right kind of care. And that's why I want to tell you about No CD. With No CD, you can do virtual therapy with a licensed therapist who specializes in OCD so they understand what you're going through and know how to help. No CD therapists are trained in exposure and response prevention, or ERP. It's a type of therapy that was specifically designed for OCD, and it's considered the gold standard treatment. No CD also accepts many major insurance plans and offers always-on support between sessions, so you're never alone. To learn more about therapy with No CD, go to nocd.com and schedule a free 15-minute call with their team. That's nocd.com to learn more and book a free 15-minute call. Curious about Ozempic or Wegovy? I know you are. But sometimes you can't get your hands on it. That's where Ro comes in. Through Ro, you can access prescription compounded GLP-1s with the same weight loss ingredient as brand name GLP-1s at a fraction of the cost. Ro has compounded GLP-1s in stock now. You can get it in 1 to 4 days if you qualify. Ro members have support throughout the process. So if you're eligible for medication, patients have access to their provider on demand for any questions. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in 1 to 4 days. What I really love is that this is a challenge to get this medication, and now it doesn't have to be with Ro. It's so easy. I love that you have someone that you can talk to about it once you're on it. And this is just a perfect way to get to your fitness goals. Go to ro.co/juicyscoop. Memberships start at just $99 for your first month. Medication costs are separate. That's ro.co/juicyscoop. Go to ro.co/safety for black box warning and full safety information. Compounded medication is not required to and does not receive FDA review or approval. RX only. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on.
Who else? That's it? Only
No,
person?
no.
You didn't see the captain? No, I mean at the party, you didn't see anybody else?
I mean, I saw other people that I don't know, that are on other reality shows and things like that. But of who, I saw Katie, Kristen Doty.
Oh, what about Kyle Richards?
I did not see. I don't think she went upstairs.
So I saved my Kyle, my little juicy scoop I have.
Oh, do tell. We'll go back to this when you talk about the story.
Shout out to her reality award. So
okay, so you're at the party.
No, this was in Aspen.
Okay.
So we're in Aspen and we're at this steakhouse and Heidi's like, "Is that Mauricio?" And
now, what month is this?
Like 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
3 weeks ago, maybe 2.5. And I go, "Oh my gosh, it is!" And they're sitting in the dark, and it's a younger lady. Heidi's convinced it's his daughter. And I'm like, "That's not his daughter, honey." And she goes, "It's definitely his daughter." And I'm like, "That is not his daughter, honey." So she gets up. to like go to the restroom or whatever, and he gets up and he starts putting his hand like on her back under the shirt. I go, that's not his daughter, honey. And then I missed this part. So this isn't from my eyes, it's from Heidi's. Like the music that was on, Heidi said he did a full Dancing with the Stars. Heidi imitated it like a cha-cha, and she said it was movie scene, like Adam Sandler level comedy little dance that he put on for this
for this
young lady. And it was just, so I don't know if we'll see that.
Well, I'm very excited for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We know that Kim struggled. They asked her a lot about her sister Kim on the carpet. She's in a rehab now again. And there was something that went on with Kyle had to have her was getting paperwork done to have her removed from her house. And like a house that she was like staying at that Kyle owned or something. And then now she's in a rehab and she's saying all the right things. Like, we're always supportive. We, support her or whatever. And we don't know where it is with she and Morgan.
But what do we know about Mauricio? Like, and
then they're just still separated. Like, no one's filed. Dorit and PK, I think, are separated too.
I asked Alex Baskin. I texted him. I was like, "Do you want me to film this for footage and like to get a clip?" He's like, "No," or whatever. I would have to look, but I was ready to like get secret footage for his episode.
Would you or Heidi ever want to do Dancing with the Stars?
I had to back in the day. I had to say no to it because back in the day, networks didn't let you share. You couldn't be on MTV and go on. Now they're all cross promote anyway. So I had to say no. And once you do that, I feel like you burn it for a long time. So Val was at our house on Saturday night. Val from Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, okay.
He came over and he was trying to like hype me up to do it. And I was saying the only way I could do it is if Val was my dancing partner because Heidi is not down with these lovely dancers. I know it's just dancing, but I
think it's very sexual.
Very sexual.
And there are so many times, and I know somebody that boned a partner in one of these things that was married, and it just was like, it was just undeniable. They're just the sexual chemistry, and it happened. It didn't last past the thing, but it happens.
And so we're arguing with Val about this. And Val's like, well, and he's talking about different people on the show. And he's like, well, if you just notice, like, their chemistry is so much different. He's like, that's what I'm talking about. Their chemistry. And he's like, no, but you have to pretend. She's like, you're faking chemistry, making this look like chemistry. And then my argument also was nowadays with social media, they have to do so much content where they look like couples. Like I would have more content with this attractive fit girl like than my own wife all over my social.
Like they're doing
coffee, and doing all these skits and all my.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like there's no way to take that imprint off of like the Heidi Spencer audience. Like, oh, Spencer is so creepy with that dancer, but you're just trying to like make people interested. Like, and it's happening right now with like not for me, but watching like Val's wife, Jenna, who's so good and trying to look professional. But I think she's with the Bachelor guy. And I'm like, how does that Bachelor lady, I don't know his, whoever they're big, they're a new relationship. And now you got attractive, fit Jenna doing all these TikTok, and it's art, and that's bigger than the show. So it becomes a fame thing. So I said, yes, would definitely do it with a male as my partner. But
got it.
And
then what about
I'm fine if Heidi does
What about you're fine with her doing it?
We need money, honey.
So you're fine with her doing all the content and the cutie things.
You blow us up.
Okay. And then what if she was to do Masked Singer? How do you feel about that as a show?
Any show,
So Villains.
That's why I didn't do it. And then.
Because you showed up at Villains at the end of last season.
Just to do they played me. So they made it was supposed to be me hosting the episode because Joel McHale, but it just looked like I showed up as a villain. And then people were like, who's this guy? So for the money I did get paid for that, I'd probably do it again. But it was also like, now I'm connected to the Villains for not that much money and not as a host. Nobody was like, oh, he's the host.
Right.
So.
Well, the Villains just started again. And the clips that I'm seeing do look pretty entertaining.
Oh,
they have Teresa. And she's coming off really fun.
And then they bring New York back too.
Yeah,
again?
they have New York. And New York says to Teresa, you know, I've always had mad respect for you and your hairline. And because before Teresa like lasered this, which the Kardashians did too, she used to have a very low hairline, Teresa, and got mocked for it a lot. I mean, she looks really good now, but back in the day, she looks very different. And she's just like, thanks. Like she doesn't catch the insult. So that's like a viral clip. And then there's another clip where Teresa's talking to like one of the original Survivor guys who like went to prison for tax evasion. So she's like, oh yeah, I went to prison too. We went for the same thing. And he goes, and a lot of people don't know that I'm gay or something. And she goes, oh, I didn't know you were gay. And then she says, are you a top or bottom? And he goes, I'm a bottom. He goes, a lot of people, this was it. He goes, a lot of people don't know I'm a bottom. And she's like, oh, do you do poppers? I mean, it was just like, but I'm like, this is pretty good. And then she makes food for everybody and everyone said it sucked, which I also think is really funny because she prides herself. She has cookbooks and everything. They said it was way too salty, the food.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely go on season 3 of it. It sounds like they have more budget now. When I was initially,
and it sounds like they're having more fun.
Yeah, and taking it less. Like,
yes,
it's more surreal life. I would
yes,
imagine.
I think it feels more surreal life, and it seems funny.
I wish I had been on that surreal life season with Chet Hanks and Kim Zolciak.
Yeah,
I look like they were all just hanging out by a pool. I'm like, they got paid for this. So
yeah, so those things you would do.
I'll do anything,
and you'll do Traders.
I just did a show. It comes out in the spring.
Okay,
I thought we talked about that. No,
you didn't tell me. Can you not say it?
I don't think I can say the name, but it was a big competition show.
Okay. Traders you do?
I'll do again if they got cameras and money.
To me, I feel like Traders would be the most fun.
They're all fun. These
these
I think
people are getting paid. I mean, as far as
up.
like you're not, you're some of the you have to do some challenges on Traders, but I don't think it's like overwhelmingly scary or whatever. You can, I just think that one seems like the most fun to do.
The only show that does not look fun that if I was a little younger, I would want to do it is Special Forces.
No, I agree. I do not want to do that.
I don't want to just get like, you're not paying me that much to scream in my face, and I don't get to be a Navy SEAL in the end. Like, no, this is fake. So like, if you get to be a Navy SEAL or like a SAS guy at the end, and you're like, I
agree. I don't want to do that one. Survivor. I don't want to do Survivor. Definitely don't want to do Naked and Afraid. Not that there's a celebrity edition of that.
They should do that.
But definitely not any of those physical. Or Amazing Race. Don't want to do Amazing Race.
Do they still have that?
I don't know if that's still around, but I don't want to do that one. Okay, one more. Nick Cannon said he went to a party at 16, but he was one of those that just went to the party and left.
Sure. Who else said that?
Because he was a kid.
Also, was it Tyrese that was also just saying that he'd always leave?
Yeah. I mean, Howard Stern, a lot of people went to like the Hampton-y ones where like Martha Stewart and all those people were. So like I believe there was a ton of people that went, got all the photos and everything, and then
the
like
baby
left.
oil came out after.
Right.
Costco.
Oh, by the way, the baby oil thing, Travis Barker's son, Landon, was at a party for some other rich kid. And they had a bottle service thing, and they had girls come out with mock baby oil, and they posted about ha ha ha, and then people were like, that's really in bad taste and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, and they're idiots though. They're idiot kids. They're not thinking about the fact of what this really means. And there's hundreds, probably thousands of victims over the last 20 years that we're discovering. And because the baby oil thing is something to chuckle about, but then like to take it to the next like sketch level of like that, not a great idea, but whatever. He's a dumb rich kid.
Yeah, I was gonna say nepo babies.
Speaking of a nepo baby, Aoki, Lee Simmons, Russell Simmons, also
who's still hiding in Bali or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
he's
Diddy should have moved to Bali about 5 years ago.
Yeah. He's hiding in Bali being, a yoga head or whatever.
Because he can't be. There was some law where they can't get you. There's no extradition
I don't know. There were all those
laws.
He did a bunch of weird shit too.
But he's hiding from. Yeah.
So his daughter with Kimora Lee Simmons, she was modeling, but she decided, I don't want to be a model anymore. It's not as fun as I thought. I don't like being compared to my mom. I went to Harvard and have a poli-sci degree, so I'm going to do that instead. She's going to realize that's a lot harder and a lot more work than, reading a couple mean tweets that you're not as hot as your mom.
I wish that was my day. That sounds so nice. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, did you see Nicole Kidman's daughter was modeling, and a lot of people didn't think that her walk was that great. But I feel like every model's walk now is ugly.
There's no more walks.
Every model, if they are pretty, they're made to look ugly. They all look like they're starving, that they just got out of like a nuclear war. And you don't know if they're guys or girls or whatever they are. And they're all walking like the dead. So I'm like, I don't think the walk of an original like 90s model walk that's like
over.
The Naomi Campbell era of like, and Cindy Crawford of hot model looking legit, sexy. That's all gone. What they want is people to be like a hanger walking.
Like a meth addict.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Yeah. So I'm like, I think she was fine. I mean, she's whatever. But I could see why this girl's like, whatever. I don't need to take this shit. I'm rich forever.
I would say the only nepo baby model is Cindy Crawford's daughter. She looks like a real model. Like those two. That's not.
Yeah. She's a real model. Should be a real model.
That ain't.
Looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
I had a friend and her daughter was growing up to look just like her. And she just looked at me and she goes, I just want to go up to her and go, hi, I'd like my body back now. And I go, oh my God, that's so funny. That must be so weird for like a Cindy Crawford. Now, Cindy Crawford's still gorgeous.
You saw them
but
in
it must be really
ad together, right? They just did that modeling campaign and it must be like, oh, you little.
I mean, and also for Reese Witherspoon, it must be really weird, even for non-famous people, because my friend's not famous, to see like literally like a weird
clone.
Like a clone. Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
That's that.
Like there's some people that are just
now she's looking more like Ryan Philippe.
Well, Ryan Philippe and Reese Witherspoon look alike. So it's like it'll
be interesting if Ryan Philippe's name pops up in these it's hard to these parties. These
I don't think he was part of I don't. It seems like it's mostly the hip hop world that we're going to the parties.
I think we're going to find out.
All right. Oh, him as a young kid, you mean?
I just feel like the poppin' parties aren't that many parties going on. So there was the Playboy Mansion, and now we're finding out there's Diddy.
I just remembered she was active on social media saying that Russell Simmons wasn't giving them money while they were in college. And it was quite controversial because it was like, well, you are over 18. But she was like, I'm at Harvard and we don't have money. Like, we don't have points on our dorm card. And like, they were mad at him for that. And there was something going on with that. And then, oh my God, there's so many. Oh my God, the Juicy Scoop history is flooding back. Then there was something with Kimora Lee Simmon. She was married to some guy who got wrapped up in some weird lawsuit or something. Remember?
What happened with her and that drink? Like she had shares of some big drink, and they were like suing.
That's what I'm saying. There was, and then she had some husband that she had a kid with, Kimora Lee Simmons, that there was some shady business going on there, in which then Russell Simmons was like, you owe me money because your new husband somehow did something. So it's all yuck. And she's probably go to Bali.
No, I think he's in Bali because he's like an Epstein and a Diddy, and he knows that something's coming. You don't go to these places where you can't be extradited. I
also saw, and I don't know that this is true, that she knows that song, and there's 4 videos of one is Beyonce's, a couple is of Diddy's, that allegedly have been taken off the internet if you go look them up, because there's allegedly satanic symbolism that now, if you look at it through the eyes of today, it's way more obvious. But anything can be removed from the internet.
I know, but why? Why are you
if you're powerful
why
enough.
Are you taking hit songs off unless something? But they're not taking it off
Just
because
the
it's
videos.
satanic. Because then they would take a lot of music off.
Not like just a Spotify song, but the music video can't be found.
Because stuff was in it that was showing,
visual things that would
connect to the.
allegedly.
what was happening at the parties.
I saw this from Page 6. It was 17 years today that the Kardashians debuted on E! That's all.
It's worth
been
a
a long
moment.
time.
It's worth a moment of silence. It's pretty impressive.
17 years.
We'll see if Kris Jenner ends up in jail, though. Yeah,
Well,
her and Ellen.
you know, it must be a weird thing, because if it really is just your friend and you're all just rich and you all had homes near each other and you all, saw each other at high profile parties and had a dinner here or there, and it really didn't go deeper than that. You went on Ellen's show. Diddy went on Ellen's show. Corey really did just manage Justin's tour, but was also friends with Diddy, but never knew of anything nefarious or sinister or anything, because there is no proof of it yet. It's just an awkward time. And we'll see who makes the Christmas card list or who makes the Christmas Eve party. I wouldn't be surprised.
There's no party
I say
this
it every year, but they have it every year. But I feel like this year could be the first year that they go, we're just going to have like our family thing. But I don't think so.
They've stepped up the decorations to a new level now.
They can't stop. And also it might be, no, we need to show that we're
Hulu,
not part of this.
yeah.
We're not part of this, and we're going to share it and just have the celebration. And they have so many kids too. But they still could have a huge party with just their family and make it all fancy, but not invite other celebrities. I mean, they could just still have a beautiful Christmas Eve with catering and everything else and their own phones, but not make it what it has been.
What's interesting to me is that anyone that, like you're saying, they all just have these parties, but now you're hearing all this and you don't have a comment like, I can't believe I ever. So, said it's always weird when they're like quiet.
Yeah.
It's like you're not saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. And you're not saying, I don't believe this. To like
it's interesting because now Kim got herself involved in getting the Menendez brothers
She's gonna have to get Diddy out.
Well, no, she got the right, she's working to get the Menendez brothers out, and it is kind of an interesting right now in this time. We have all these awful stories of possibly young girls, but also young boys being used, sexual abuse, whatever, through the hip hop world, while we also are being reminded of the abuse that the Menendez brothers claimed happened. And then the Menudo is saying, that they were also sexually abused by the Menendez dad. And it's all coming out now. And then Kim is using her power in the court system to help that happen and get the Menendez brothers out, switch their thing to manslaughter, and therefore they would do time served and they would get out, which is coming at the end of November, whatever. But then also she's knows Diddy and knows Kanye. And then meanwhile, Northwest just did an interview.
Well, the good news is Kim is really good at cornbread and macaroni and cheese, but she hasn't made it in 2 Halloweens.
Oh, wait. So first North came out about the food. I have another North interview I was going to talk about, but what did North say about how her mom doesn't cook?
She hasn't cooked in 2 Halloweens. That's how her calendar works. So in 2 Halloweens, and then Kim's defense, my one meal is the cornbread and the macaroni and cheese. Isn't it good? She said, yes, it is.
Well, also, she said in this interview, I just saw a little clip, that they said, what was your happiest day, North? And she said, this day that we were at this house in Italy, and I taught my brother and my sister how to pray. And, and they're like, what's something you live by? And she's like, that God is the one that matters and everything else. Very believer of God.
Well, her grandma owns a church.
Oh, that's right. Chris does own the church.
So.
But Kanye was doing all that God stuff, but then seemed to have stepped away when he made Bianca wear just nylons up to her armpits out at Disneyland. So, and then he stopped his church. Remember, he had all the gospel singers. But maybe, she's obviously a unique soul, beyond her years. And so it's kind of beautiful if she's finding her own path and sharing the word of God with her little brothers and sisters. It was honestly like really pretty cool because it seems like we'd see a lot of other things in which she seemed, like the ultimate nepo attitude girl. And in this one part, I was like, well, I hope that being what she has coming at her and the life that she's lived, if she does have a belief in God, that will save her, hopefully, from whatever is
save her. Save
her
soul.
Save her soul, and from whatever is going to come at her in these next 20 years. If she can have her own faith, but sometimes kids do, they find it in their own way, and so that was pretty. I was like pretty surprised to see that, and happy for her. Yeah, she really is kind of a genius. Okay, so we talked about that. Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel's, their stories that they might be breaking up.
So I just read that real quick, and I used to not always believe that stuff. And then on the Katy Perry's recent tour for her album, and she was like, "Yeah, Orlando and I didn't see each other for a year." And I was like, "Wow!"
Oh, what did she say? I don't know that story.
They were separated for a year because she had was dealing. I'm misquoting her, but dealing with her own personal, so whatever it was, but. That didn't hit the media that those two just didn't see each other for an entire year. And then he was on some set and she showed up. So now
they got back together.
And they got back together. So now when I read something like living separate lives, I'm like, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that every marriage is different. But the rumor is that whatever happened on that DUI night, which now has been expunged from his record, is somehow there was a girl with him or something. That's the rumor.
The photo on that balcony, it was
from New Orleans. What was that, 3 years ago?
That one haunts my third eye.
Yeah.
So you ain't getting past that one ever. And that was your just your co-star, flagrant.
Yeah. So you heard about RFK. And
that he was cheating?
That he was sexting, so allegedly. This 30-something-year-old writer that did an article about him. They met. They went for a walk in your neighborhood.
And she had a whole post from years ago about, right?
Oh,
that talking about
environmental stuff.
No, people hooking up with, I don't know. There was something where exactly what supposedly she's accused of doing. I feel like she had some post about.
The writer girl.
Yeah, the writer about talking about that type of behavior.
Well,
they were in the Palisades?
Yeah, they were. She met him there to work on an article, and then they went for a hike, and something sparked then. Then they had the sexting, allegedly, and then allegedly her fiance found out about it and therefore brought it to the attention of the paper, in which the paper was like, well, we certainly can't hire a writer who could be having any type of romance with a subject that she's supposed to be doing, especially a political subject. So that's how it all exploded. No, neither of them ever spoke on it. His mother has since passed, and they were seen together holding hands, mourning the mother. He and Cheryl Hines.
Did she used to be married to Rob Lowe?
Cheryl Hines? No.
Yeah, no.
No, she was married to a
she a journalist? She had Entertainment Tonight?
No, Cheryl Hines was on is best known for Curb Your Enthusiasm, the wife of Larry David, but she's been in a ton of movies. She's a comedic actress. Okay. They got married 10 years ago. And
she better step up her sexting game, I guess.
I think there's just, again, there's certain people that are like, I still love you. We're going to stay married. You're such an idiot. I don't care. Everybody's different. Okay.
No judgment.
No judgment. So people are freaking out because Meghan Markle said that I was the most bullied person in the world. And people are like, okay. I think when you are feeling it, you do feel like the whole world hates you. And she was on a global scale of hate, Meghan Markle.
Yeah, it just shows how plugged in she was. Because if I was hanging out with the royals and I could have crumpets and tea, I would not have been logged on. I wouldn't know I was bullied. So it's interesting. I'm only reading comment section over here because I'm trying to get to crumpets and tea and stay connected. But if I'm living like that, I am not watching BBC and whoever.
There is an envy I have sometimes when I talk to people and I say this and they're like, I'm so out of it.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
my
I
point.
don't watch these shows.
Yeah.
I'm not even on social media. And I'm like, oh my God.
So that's my point.
What is
So
that
she
like?
could
Like to
be
wake
that.
up and just
Know nothing about.
eat something, work out, like read a book.
Heidi's pretty
maybe
like that.
just go back and read like a paper. Like what if you just read the newspaper and you never opened your phone?
There's Heidi. Sometimes I'm like, you don't know who that is. She's like, so she's so busy that
Right.
she doesn't get to scroll as much as I do. But
Yeah.
that's my point. It's pretty. You chose to embrace being bullied at that level of.
Yeah.
She definitely had the firm that could be telling her good PR. If you want to only hear, like you call the firm, be like, oh, what are they saying about me today? And they're like, that you're lovely. Like,
Everyone loves your
yeah,
white dress.
Yeah, you're beautiful. Okay. Like you're seeking out once you get to that level
I think maybe that's my goal.
to where you just have someone lying to you.
I get to a place and I just say, show me all the nice stuff today. I just need a little boost.
Yeah.
And then the rest I don't have to. But I because I do everything myself, I do have to look at everything. And I do get a lot of love. And it does boost me. But then I don't.
Don't accidentally heart everybody else.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't be careful.
I accidentally hearted something the other day. And I mean,
You're
even for that 1 second, because I went to go look at comments, but by accidentally looking at a comment, my finger went above to the heart. And then and luckily I deleted it because it was just like a weird thing that I was curious about. And I'm like, and what it showed up was my name and then like 3 little hearts as a comment with hearts or something. Thank God I deleted it. But I was like, God, for that 1 second, someone could. But I also feel like, ugh, who cares? No one cares. Did you hear about Martha Stewart's show on Netflix?
I didn't, but
It's coming out.
we have a friend that we know that went to dinner with her for like a pitch. Oh, he's probably producing this show.
How long ago was it?
In the last few months, 5 months, 6 months. And he
Oh.
said she was the coolest lady he'd ever gone to dinner with, like just off the hook cool. I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
I mean, I think, being that she was completely, she came from privilege. She was married to someone, she was a stockbroker, she was a model, but she really built that business herself before anyone thought that just being a homemaker could be such a, huge business. Then she gets in trouble for the stock market stuff. Then she goes to prison, comes out and just goes back to being famous and cool. And then, really looks good, got a really good plastic surgery because she was pretty before. And anyway, she says her husband cheated, and she cheated on him, but he never knew before he died that she cheated on him before they got divorced. So she cheated on him, they got divorced, he died. Now she's like,
airing it out.
Yeah,
Let me tell you about
let me tell you about it. So, but she, originally when this came out, she wasn't happy with it. So she's not happy with this story of her Netflix. She was saying like she wasn't going to do press or something because she was mad and she wants to do another. But all of that, I believe now she knows to say I'm not happy with it.
To just get more
to
attention.
get people to like, oh, good.
Oh,
They're
I'm
not
gonna
kissing
watch it.
her ass. Like, oh, I'm supposed to have more say in the story. Like if someone does a documentary about me and I completely I'm going to be like, the things they said about me are effed up, you guys. Don't believe any
I'm
of
suing.
it. Do me a favor. Don't watch this piece of garbage. That's really smart.
I'm sure she's doing that.
Yeah. Okay, good. Dr. Dre is sued by $10 million by his therapist. Therapist is saying that he threatened him and everything because he didn't like what the therapist was.
It's hard right now to be rich and famous. You are getting sued. You can't really talk to anyone.
Right, but you hire a therapist and then the therapist sues you.
No, I'm not defending it.
I'm
It's
not.
true. I'm just saying, like,
I'm sure the therapist had a tough life, but and he was not an easy client. But it's about now he's divorcing his wife of all these years. It has something to do with
what about doctor-patient confidentiality? How can you sue and talk about what they said or did in therapy?
So he is facing a lawsuit from this guy Charles Sophie, claiming $10 million in damages. And the lawsuit details a campaign of intimidation that began after frustrations arose from mediation process. So Dr. Dre's divorced from Nicole Young. So he didn't like how the mediation was going with this therapist. And then he started late night texting him. And then he claims that individuals came impersonating the FBI's attempting to enter the doctor's home. Dr. Dre's attorney has countered that Sophie's lawsuit was only filed after he was unsuccessful in influencing Nicole Young, that's his ex-wife-to-be, to drop a complaint against him with the medical board. So he's saying that the lawsuit was because of that. And so I don't know. Kind of weird.
That's why I don't have a therapist.
I know. Have you ever gone to counseling?
Just on TV.
I remember someone going, just know if you go to marriage counseling that they may not be on your side.
Well, Heidi loved the marriage boot camp counseling.
Yeah.
There was so many things that that are good for marriage. If you sit down and you talk about love language, just stuff that is BS to me. Like Heidi does want those type of things and certain things that she wouldn't just bring up. So, I'm sure it can be helpful for people if they have extra time.
Yeah.
And someone's paying you to go.
But also now know that you
could get sued.
You could get sued.
Or you're going to sue them.
Or you get a thirsty therapist like the one that was part of the Menendez. Did you not see the Ryan Murphy? You got to watch it.
Right.
But they really did have a therapist who was very unethical. But that is who they confessed to. That's who Eric confesses to. And then he taped it. And then he was still like, hey, I have this business I want you to invest in. And then he told his mistress, and it was the mistress who went to the cops and said, the therapist I'm boning has told me that his clients, the Menendez brothers, said that they killed the parents. That's how it all got found out.
Definitely watching now.
Do you know about Christine Hall's situation of flip or flop?
Was that guy a police officer?
No.
Josh Hall? Are you sure?
You know what? I don't know if he was a police. He was just this cute guy that she was like, oh my God, I love him. They got married. He's her third husband. And now it's just like, she's like basically calling him a squatter. And like, I mean, she's very upset because she said that she's listing the house and it's becoming this horrible thing. And he's saying, I am entitled to some of that because I was there for this amount of time contributing to the mortgage payments as a spouse. So they're just having an ugly breakup. They were not married very long. But originally they were supposed to do this show.
With her ex, right?
Yeah, for 1 minute they were all getting along. And what's interesting is that Heather, Tarek's now second wife, and she look a lot alike. So they made fun of the fact that they look a lot alike. And then also, years ago, I was a guest of that Heather's podcast, that's now Tarek's wife. And her co-host was this guy's sister.
That's what I'm saying. What's from the Playboy?
Jessica
Hall. He was a cop in Santa Monica. Josh Hall. We met him when he was in his uniform, and he came up, and I were like, "Oh my gosh, cops pulling up on us!" And he's like, started talking. He's like, my sister, and it was Jessica Hall, and her sister is Stacy Hall, who was like the bartender on the Hills. We had our little fake scene that I was cheating on Heidi with.
Hollywood is a small place.
That's what I mean. That's what I was like.
So then they met, and so all of them are getting along great, beautifully. And then one day they're breaking up. So I don't know what happened because that one show, I don't even know if it's out.
Those TikToks were so good. The promos for that show.
They were supposed to like each get a house, each remodel it with their new spouse, and see which one made more profit. I don't know where that show went. I don't know if that's airing or not. Now they have I don't know. But now, anyway, this is a bad breakup for her. And then she had a husband in between that she had a child with. But she keeps going.
How do these people have so much free time? It's so impressive. You can have multiple husbands,
multiple
kids,
TV shows,
products, your hair, makeup done. Good for them. Speaking of marriages that are just popping up, what do you think about Lana Del Rey marrying the crocodile tour guide?
I think that I just think sometimes it's like straight out of like what was that one where Julia Roberts played Notting Hill? Like I don't know. Like sometimes
I just
think she like whatever was excited to have this guy like Get into her.
Or he had no idea who she was, maybe. Like, and that could have been exciting.
But I mean, it is weird that I just think sometimes girls just love having a guy super into them. And they want to be wifey and they don't care and they're not thinking about it and they're not thinking about the big picture. They're just thinking like, so what that he's not famous? He's like 48.
I've seen so many memes like, if you're getting dating advice from anybody, it better be this guy. And then Bella Hadid with the cowboy.
Is she with some new cowboy?
No, she's been with a cowboy.
He's just a real cowboy.
A real cowboy. But I always see that because I met a cowboy in Aspen once. And I was like, wow, he's a cool cowboy. Ends up, he's like a billionaire. So like, you can be a cowboy. Like, has anybody deep dive her cowboy? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a ranch owner and owns, family owns
we did not
400 acres of.
We have to talk about your girl, Kristen Cavallari,
I'm
breaking
so
up
sad
with the
about
Montana
that.
TikTok boy.
Montana boys.
I heard
I think it was
somewhere.
that podcast that they did was the end of it. Did you watch that viral clip?
What was it?
It was a podcast. I think it was hers. Thankfully, she
Okay.
at least maybe she got the listeners, but I think it murked the relationship from my outsider, no knowledge information. They're on this podcast and they're doing like, do you want to have kids? And he's like, and she's like, you want to have kids or? And it's like this very different pages, like in marriage, like all these like heavy things that should never be discussed with the TikTok dancing. Like, I don't know. I thought they were so cute together. I enjoyed their little TikToks and their dancing. But.
Well, I heard some rumor that he's doing some dating show.
Well, I heard they were doing a reality show, but maybe now that he's single, boom, he's going
Wait, you
to.
mean him and the other guys?
Yeah, that they were having a reality show about them in Nashville. I'd heard
I mean,
that.
are they still like dancing to TikTok, the hot guys?
Yeah, they got 3 new dances. People got so mad at me because I reposted and reshared. Right after the breakup, they did "She's Dangerous" or I don't know what the song is. And I thought it was so cute and funny and everyone's like, "I thought you were friends with Kristen." I'm like, I don't think Kristen cares if I'm sharing these guys lip syncing to "She's Dangerous."
Well, who is she going to go for next?
That's what
Who
we
would
were
you like to
asked on
see
the
her
red
with?
carpet and
Who would you like to see?
it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because she had the buff, good-looking young guy. How do you
She's not going to go young for the next.
That's done, yeah.
I think she's going to go Lauren Sanchez billionaire next. Maybe not a billionaire. Maybe not to the level
Like
of
Bethany level. I met Bethany's very successful.
Oh, you did?
Oh, you didn't see
Where?
our TikTok together?
Oh, you saw her at shopping, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
all of a sudden I got out of the car and there she was. And it was like a glitch in the matrix. But she was very lovely.
Yeah, I'm sure she would be.
yeah,
I mean, come on. Talk about someone who films all day long.
It's inspiring. I will. I was like, I got to step up my content and just film myself chewing more. For real. It's a thing. These mukbang.
On the next level. The eating.
But this guy, he was super nice. And,
And they seemed like they were into each other?
Yeah, he said the quote that I loved because people are coming up to her and he's like, you wouldn't believe it. It was like she was a Beatle in the Hamptons. I was like, I believe it.
And I'm sure that's what she loves to have someone see.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
And they're all like extras. She's like begging to roll up on her. But yes.
Okay, well, I think she's going to go for someone.
That's what I mean. Someone like that with a big jet. This guy had the biggest jet I've ever seen.
How did you go from the grocery store to his jet?
Because I saw that she just got off the biggest jet in LA on her TikTok. I was like, whose jet was she on? So it had to have been this guy because it was hours later. She's with this guy. And I had to, I could be wrong. Maybe she's now booking the biggest jets ever off of, her success.
Well, good for her too. But that's who I think now.
Of course she needs.
Now she needs someone that's like that she's into, but that's also going to elevate her level financially, even though she's already really wealthy, but put her in a whole nother stratosphere.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard though. It's very competitive out here. In my opinion, seeing how there's a lot of women looking for very rich men.
Also, a guy might be intimidated that she just had like a perfect body and
Ripped,
dick
and she's
in
on
her
a
bed.
podcast like, you're the best sex of my whole
Yeah,
life.
you're right.
Like,
Yeah,
I was
maybe you
like,
don't say that.
Like who? It's like
You
the
know
guy
what?
I just
That-
saw.
you're
I just
right.
saw on a podcast. This guy was hooking up with this girl, and then he said, she said she was just with Shaq, and he's like, why didn't you tell me that before we got together? I wouldn't want to be after Shaq or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of like that.
Okay, so that's what I think. And everybody's spilling all the beans about their life on their podcast. I'm going to suggest people going forward that whoever you're with, you just say things like, we just get each other. I've never laughed harder. This is what you can say to get the next guy to want to top it. I've never had anyone that was as generous as this guy. He was so generous. He always knew my needs. He always surprised me with beautiful, thoughtful gifts, but also, incredible, generous gift jewelry that I never thought I'd ever be wearing. It just didn't work out between us. But I love that he knew my love language was thoughtfulness and gifts.
And the breakup gift he gave me was even
say
more
that,
amazing.
And then when you meet a guy and he does a little research on you, he's like, oh, I get it.
Her love language is shopping.
Yeah, it's Prada. That's great. I'll just do that. And it's not, he rode me so hard 3 times a night, because then some guy who's 50 is like, shit, I can't compete with Montana 24-year-old dick.
So here's my thing with podcasts after watching what happened with her and this situation on the podcast. If you're so against like doing reality TV, like she's like, I'm never doing another reality show, there is no difference when you have your guy you're dating, you got cameras and a mic, and you're airing out all your business on a podcast platform. At least put this on Very Cavallari, the reboot, on streaming, because now at least we have a show, better hair, makeup, better lighting, it's edited, and you're getting way more money.
And also, everyone can have a podcast talking about their sex life. Every single person. And I think almost every single person does. So you're right. If you're at a level that can
get a show. She could have show. The second they announced their thing, that day she could have sold that to one of these streamers. 6 episode, right. 8 episode.
Have a couple other hot divorced mommies that want to hop on the train.
Like Love After Marriage or whatever the name is.
And then have like moments of being like, don't even bring that hot piece of ass near me. I don't want to fall in love. You can do that, Kristen.
Anything.
I can't. And then her, them talking about it, and then having like a cute young dad that's like, I can't compete with that. Our kid woke us up 3 times last night. Like there could be some real fun with that. It's all gone now.
Yeah. And for what? 3 episodes of your podcast got more listeners when you could have had a new show, all the jewelry on episodes. That's what blew up the jewelry to begin with. So the disconnect when I hear people like act like a podcast is a reality show now. People, the same clips edited all over. There's no like, oh, I'm just doing my podcast. I wouldn't do reality TV.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing a reality podcast, like whatever.
You're so right. Okay. Tell us what's going on with your life. Where, besides Heidi, tell us everything where everyone can get more about you.
Oh, really? Just keep streaming the music. Even if you don't listen to it, just turn the volume off. Just cook those streams like we're a Chinese bot farm.
But what is the goal? Like, how did she get back into the music and just decide is she writing the music?
We didn't plan any of this. So we did all this in 2009, but the smartest thing we've ever done at the time. For 10 years, we thought we wasted most of our money doing it, but ended up being the best investment of our lives. We hired the most famous songwriters, the most famous producers, the most famous mixers, the most famous, like Kathy Dennis, who wrote Britney Spears' Toxic, wrote most of Heidi's hits now. So this year, this young audience of Y2K, people going back to that, because her listeners are 18 to 24. So that's the funniest part, this disconnect on her Instagram with these moms that are like, what are you doing? Like Heidi's lost it. She's satanic, but it's like now with all the new music, she's recording with young 22-year-olds, because you want the listeners to connect to the people making the music. So the mom era are still very confused. Like Heidi's new song right now is the hook is F me in 5G, which Heidi doesn't even use the F word in real life, you know? So she's embracing the listening base and listening to the people that are listening to her and giving them the music they want. So there's a lot of drama in her comment section. So feel free to leave nice comments if you're bored, because people are like, what? She's lost her mind. Why is she doing this? But they don't understand, 3 billion streams on TikTok, 50 million on one song on YouTube, 10 million on one on Apple Music, 62 million on Spotify. Like, these are big numbers that now we're popping in pop music. So it's a miracle. Like, it's crazy. So now we just record like 20 new songs.
You feel like your story could be like the next version of A Star Is Born?
We've just pitched that to OnlyFans TV to document like the dark comedy version of like the Cat's Eye on Netflix. They're like the Pop Star Academy. Oh. So we're doing that. I just pitched that to OnlyFans TV because they have so much money and they could really finance us doing the Star Is Born because like she performed. I'm watching a monitor at home and she usually goes to bed at like 10. She's having to get full hair makeup to go perform F Me in 5G at a rave for the underworld night where everyone's like thinking she's now like a Satanist when she like is getting up for, to make pancakes for the kids. But so it's just this is so wild. And she's also working with these artists. Like she has a song right now with this, Barely Human is one of the most 8 million monthly listeners on. You're not getting a song with Barely Human right now unless you're so popping. They have a song right now. She has one coming up with Chase Icon, like Low Zeke, all these young. So that would be following Heidi, this mom with all these young, niche. Hopefully we're finding out if they're going to fund it, but it would be very entertaining. So really just support the music.
That is awesome. I think that's so funny and so like unexpected and cool.
It just came out of nowhere all of a sudden. It started with the first check in the mail.
And are you still doing your crystals?
Not much because it's full-time music. I'm just putting my energy. One thing I learned from David Foster is that from back in the day is he said the microphone only comes in front of your face usually just once. And if you don't grab it, it's going to the next person. So I keep buying the stones and the crystals. I still have the website and right now we have 25% off Halloween just dropped today. So but my energy is right now and wow, Heidi has a chance to really, for her numbers, there's the big stars, you got Chappell Roan and
right.
Taylor, but then it goes down to like Heidi's has over 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify, which that is a big artist with a label right now.
Yeah.
So there's like 3 tiers. You're either Taylor or even now Addison Rae just probably went up to like tier 2 with that new song. And then you're at a Heidi tier, so it's like a miracle.
That's
And
great.
it was hard because 10 years we were pretty depressed about the 2 million we spent on that album that we saw no money for, no fame or nothing. So it's really one of those things that Heidi always says is God's timing. And I used to be like, well, this timing is all effed up, but better late than never.
And the boys are doing great.
Yeah, Gunner's realizing first grade is not kindergarten. So this has been a lot harder, less tinkering and more school and homework now. So parenting is getting a lot more difficult just because you have to explain them like, school sucks.
And then how old is your younger son?
He's 17.
No.
He thinks he is. He's I don't want to say crazy. People think that's a negative word. He's the wildest, almost 2-year-old I've ever seen in my entire life. The other morning I was up at 6 with him and he's right now obsessed with like vitamins because obviously they taste like candy. Yeah. So I'm like giving him 2 and he's pointing at them like reading the back and it's like 5 years and older, 2 only. I'm like, no more. And he's freaking out, having a tantrum. I'm like, no more. And I'm like doing this. He just looks at me, drops to the ground, bangs his head on the freaking tile kitchen floor. My Heidi comes up because she'd been up doing pop star stuff and she just sees it looks like he's in a car accident with a bruise on. She's like, what had happened to him? I'm like, I was vitamins. She's like, why didn't you get more? I was like, I was at 8 vitamins. Like, so no, it's
So he's
no
a little
third, no
he's a little
third
challenge.
kid.
He's a little challenging.
Yeah, no third kid in the
Yeah.
works.
Well, that's always the second kid.
so,
They're not as easy
but
as the
other than
first.
that, life, we got a dog, got a protection dog,
Oh, good.
which
Good.
was insane. We got like a Dutch Shepherd, like a police dog.
Oh, cute.
It's off to training now.
Oh, okay.
We survived 1 week with the Velociraptor trying to eat Heidi. So
Oh, okay.
that was just, let's make our lives more difficult. For some reason, Heidi tasted the best and just it was crazy.
Well, thank you so
Oh,
much.
such a
Follow
treat.
Spencer Pratt on TikTok and on Instagram. It's very funny. You do a lot of funny stuff and interesting, cute things too.
I will say that you can touch my hair, any juicy scoopers. Heather inspired me to not, I want to scare anybody off. But the only people that really come up to me, and they're always, I will say your demo is very classy.
Yeah.
And they just look put together. And then they come up to me and I'm like thinking like, what's going on here? And they're like, I'm a juicy scooper. And I'm like, yeah. So
I have the best.
So
They're the best.
thank you for coming up. I appreciate every juicy scooper in public.
Remember, heathermcdonald.net for all of my live dates. Come see me, join the Patreon, and follow Spencer. Thank you.